The December wind cut through the Beverly Hills mansion gates like a blade, carrying snow that shouldn't exist in California. Cole Matthews stood motionless in the bitter cold, his 16-year-old frame silhouetted against the towering iron bars that separated him from $50 million worth of gleaming marble and shattered dreams. Security guard Sam Rodriguez reached for his radio. "I'm calling the police. Kid, move along." Then Hope Sterling's scream pierced the night, a sound of pure terror that had haunted these walls for 3 years. The golden retriever named Echo bolted toward the gate, drawn to the homeless boy as if sensing something the humans couldn't. Ethan Sterling burst from his mansion, fury blazing in his eyes until he saw the teenager's face. Time stopped. "Get away from my property," he snarled. Cole raised a carved wooden box with trembling hands. "I'm here about Hope." Thunder crashed overhead. What if the person you hate most is the only one who can save what you love most? Before we continue, please leave a like and let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. 3 years had transformed Ethan Sterling from a laughing father into a monument of marble and steel. His tech empire, built from algorithms and ambition, had consumed his grief and forged it into a $50 million fortress in Beverly Hills. The mansion stood like a mausoleum, its 30 rooms echoing with the absence of Margaret's laughter, the void where his wife's voice once filled their home with warmth. Margaret had died in a senseless collision on Pacific Coast Highway, her car crushed by a truck that ran a red light. She left behind a husband drowning in guilt and a daughter born into profound silence. Hope Sterling, now 5 years old, had never heard her mother's voice, never heard her own laughter echo through these hollow halls. Ethan worked 18-hour days to avoid watching Hope's desperate attempts to make him smile. He had spent fortunes flying to specialists in Switzerland, Germany, Japan, anywhere Hope might be purchased with money. Each failure carved him deeper into stone. Dr. Patricia Williams, Hope's audiologist, had gently explained the permanence profound sensorineural hearing loss, complete and irreversible. Hope lived in a world painted in colors, but silent as death. The brilliant child drew pictures of sounds she'd never experienced, yellow circles for what she imagined laughter looked like, blue waves for the music that made people dance on television. Her golden retriever, Echo, had become her translator of emotions, sensing when nightmares about the dark, quiet place consumed her sleep. Only Sam Rodriguez, the aging security guard who had worked for the Sterlings since Hope's birth, remained to witness the family's slow disintegration. He watched Ethan retreat into cold efficiency, saw Hope's increasingly frantic drawings begging for her father's attention. Miles away in downtown Los Angeles, 16-year-old Cole Matthews carved wood by candlelight in an abandoned warehouse. The homeless veteran who taught him had called it making beauty from broken things, a skill Cole had mastered since losing his family. He survived by selling small wooden animals to tourists, each piece funding his careful observations of the Sterling mansion. For 2 years, Cole had watched through chain-link fences and studied newspaper articles. He knew Hope's schedule, her favorite spots in the garden, the way she pressed her hands against windows when frustrated. He carried his father's final letter in a weathered envelope, along with his mother's abandonment and a plan born from equal parts desperation and devotion. The carved wooden box in his hands represented months of precise work, built with knowledge inherited from tragedy and shaped by an impossible dream of redemption. Dawn broke over Beverly Hills with unforgiving clarity, revealing Cole Matthews still stationed outside the Sterling mansion gates. His fingers moved methodically across a piece of pine, carving delicate feathers into what would become a wooden sparrow. The rhythmic scraping of his knife had drawn early morning joggers' curious stares. But Cole remained focused, waiting. Sam Rodriguez emerged from the security booth, coffee steaming in the cold air. "Kid, I told you last night." "I'm not begging," Cole interrupted quietly, holding up his carving. "I work." Ethan Sterling's Mercedes purred through the gates at 7:30 sharp, as Cole had observed for weeks. The car stopped abruptly when Ethan spotted the teenager. He stepped out, immaculate in his charcoal suit, face set in familiar stone. "You're still here." Cole stood slowly, his worn jacket hanging loose on his thin frame. "Your gardens need work, Mr. Sterling. Dead roses, overgrown hedges. I can fix that. I have a landscaping service. They come once a month and cut everything the same height." Cole gestured toward the neglected flower beds. "Those were prize-winning roses once. Your wife planted them. Didn't she?" Ethan's jaw tightened dangerously. Sam stepped closer, hand moving toward his radio. "How do you know about my wife?" "Public records. Garden Club newsletters from before the accident." Cole's voice carried no challenge, only quiet observation. "She loved horticulture. These gardens are dying because nobody cares for them the way she did." "Don't," Ethan began, then stopped. Something in the boy's weathered hands, the precise way he held his carving knife, the respectful distance he maintained despite his desperation, stirred unwanted recognition. "1 week trial," Ethan heard himself saying. $100 a day. You sleep in the gardener's shed. Stay away from the house. And if I catch you near my daughter, you're gone." Sam shook his head grimly. "Mr. Sterling, I don't think—" "1 week," Ethan repeated, already regretting the decision but unable to retract it. Margaret's roses deserved better than monthly butchery. Cole spent his first day restoring order to chaos. His movements were economical, purposeful, revealing training that went beyond casual observation. He pruned with surgical precision, understanding each plant's individual needs, coaxing life from what others had written off as dead. From her bedroom window, Hope pressed her palms against the glass, watching the strange boy work. Echo sat beside her, tail wagging as he tracked Cole's progress through the garden. When Cole looked up and smiled, Hope ducked behind the curtains, but her curiosity was stronger than her shyness. By afternoon, Cole had left small wooden animals where Hope would find them, a carved rabbit near her favorite climbing tree, a wooden butterfly on the garden bench where she fed birds. He worked as if unaware of her observation, but everything he did was performed for an audience of one. Dr. Williams arrived for Hope's monthly evaluation, another appointment in a series of careful disappointments. Ethan watched from his study window as the audiologist packed away her equipment, Hope's test results unchanged. The familiar rage built in his chest. "No more specialists," he told Dr. Williams coldly. "I'm done pretending miracles exist. Hope is deaf. That's our reality." "Mr. Sterling, research continues to advance. New technologies." "No," Ethan's voice cut like glass. "Accept what is." In the shed that night, Cole worked by flashlight, his carving tools arranged like surgical instruments. The wooden box taking shape in his hands was unlike his other work, larger, more complex, its interior hollow carved with mathematical precision. He understood acoustic resonance from his father's obsession with truck radios, knew how certain shapes could amplify and focus sound waves. Sam discovered him during a late security round, flashlight beam revealing wood shavings scattered like snow. "What's that boy really doing here?" Sam muttered, suspicious of the elaborate project. Cole looked up, eyes holding secrets too heavy for 16 years. "Making something beautiful from broken things." Throughout the week, Ethan found himself watching Cole's effect on Hope. His daughter smiled for the first time in months, collecting wooden animals like treasures. She began following Cole around the garden at a respectful distance, Echo serving as intermediary. The dog had inexplicably bonded with the homeless teenager, as if recognizing a kindred spirit. Ethan's gratitude warred with suspicion, Cole's careful behavior around him. The fear that flickered in the boys' eyes when they spoke suggested depths Ethan couldn't fathom. Hope was healing. But from what? And why did Cole sometimes stare at the mansion with such profound sadness? The week ended with Margaret's rose garden blooming again, and Hope speaking her first word in months. "Cole," whispered to Echo as they watched the boy work. Christmas week arrived like an unwelcome visitor to the Sterling mansion. Ethan had made his annual announcement over breakfast, delivered with the coldness of a business memo. No Christmas celebration this year. Too painful. Hope's face crumpled as she watched silent Christmas carols flickering across the television screen. Her small hands pressed against the speakers, feeling vibrations she couldn't translate into meaning. Tears streamed down her cheeks as dancing figures celebrated sounds she would never experience. Echo whimpered beside her, sensing her distress. From the kitchen window, Cole witnessed Hope's breakdown and made his decision. Time had run out for careful planning. His work on the wooden box had consumed every night for 2 weeks, and Christmas morning would mark 3 months since he'd first approached the Sterling gates. The box was ready, even if he wasn't. That evening, while Ethan worked late in his study, Cole found Hope sitting beneath her mother's rose garden. Echo curled protectively beside her. She looked up as he approached, her tear-stained face brightening with innocent trust. "Hope," Cole said, kneeling to her level. He pulled the carved wooden box from behind his back, its surface gleaming with intricate detail. Musical notes danced around angels' wings, while tiny flowers bloomed along the edges. "This is for you. Your name means something beautiful. It means believing good things can happen even when everything seems dark." Hope's fingers traced the delicate carvings with reverence. She had collected all of Cole's wooden animals, but this was different. This was art that spoke to her soul, even in silence. "Do you know what this is?" Cole asked, opening the box to reveal its hollow interior. Hope shook her head, mesmerized by the smooth curves carved inside. Cole's hands trembled slightly as he placed a small music box mechanism into the specially designed chamber. "It's a way for you to hear music. Hope. Real music." He lifted the box gently, positioning it against Hope's ear. "Hold it like this, and close your eyes." Hope obeyed, her small hands gripping the wooden treasure. Cole wound the mechanism, and the tiny metal pins began their ancient dance. But something extraordinary happened. The hollow chamber amplified and focused the sound waves, directing them with mathematical precision into frequencies Hope's damaged hearing could detect. Hope's eyes flew open, and she gasped. For the first time in her 5 years of life, melody reached her consciousness, not as vibration or feeling, but as pure, beautiful sound. "Daddy," she screamed, her voice carrying across the garden with unprecedented joy. "Daddy, I can hear music!" Ethan's study door slammed open as he raced toward his daughter's voice. He found Hope dancing in the garden, the wooden box pressed against her ear, Cole standing back with wonder and terror mingling on his young face. "What's happening?" Ethan demanded, dropping to his knees beside Hope. "Beautiful sound. Daddy." Hope spoke clearly, more clearly than she had ever spoken before. The box's frequencies were teaching her to modulate her own voice. "Cole gave me beautiful sounds." Ethan stared at his daughter in disbelief, then snatched the box from her hands to examine it. The melody continued, tiny and tinkling, but unmistakably audible. He held it to his own ear, hearing nothing special, then watched in amazement as Hope pressed it back to her ear and began humming along, for the first time since Margaret's death. Ethan Sterling cried. Tears fell like rain as he watched his daughter experience music, watched her face light up with joy he had never seen before. But through his gratitude, suspicion grew like poison. "How did you know this would work?" he asked Cole, his voice shaking with emotion and distrust. Cole's face had gone pale. I just thought, maybe if the sound was focused." "You're 16 years old and homeless. How do you understand acoustic engineering?" Ethan's gratitude was transforming into interrogation. "Who are you really?" Before Cole could answer, Hope grabbed Ethan's hand with her free hand and Cole's with the other. "Daddy, can Cole stay forever? Can he live in our big house? He makes beautiful sounds for me." Sam Rodriguez had appeared during the commotion, drawn by Hope's unprecedented joy. But his expression darkened as he studied Cole's terrified face. Something about the boy's features, the way he held himself when cornered, stirred unwelcome memories. "I'll call Dr. Williams, Sam said quietly. She needs to see this. Dr. Williams arrived within the hour, her professional skepticism melting as she witnessed Hope's interaction with the wooden box. The audiologist confirmed what they all could see. Hope was detecting amplified sound frequencies through the box's carefully crafted design. "This is remarkable, Doctor," Williams murmured, examining the box's interior. "The acoustic properties are precisely calculated, Mr. Matthews. Where did you learn this?" The formal use of Cole's surname made the boy flinch. Ethan's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Matthews," Ethan repeated slowly. "Your last name is Matthews." Cole nodded reluctantly, knowing his time of anonymity was ending. "And your father?" "Marcus Matthews," Cole whispered, the name hanging between them like a blade waiting to fall. The name Marcus Matthews hung in the evening air like smoke from a distant fire. Ethan's face had gone ashen, but before he could process the implications, Hope tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, why did everyone get quiet?" she asked, still clutching her musical box. "Did I say something wrong?" "Doctor," Williams cleared her throat diplomatically. "Perhaps we should schedule a follow-up appointment to monitor Hope's progress with this device. It's quite remarkable." As the adults dispersed, Cole remained frozen in the garden, watching Hope dance with echo to the tiny melody. His father's name had been spoken aloud in this place for the first time in 3 years, and somehow the world hadn't ended. Yet, over the following days, Hope's transformation accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. She learned to distinguish different melodies by holding the box to various positions around her ear. Cole taught her that sounds had colors. High notes were yellow like sunshine. Low notes were blue like deep water. She began speaking more clearly, using the box's frequencies to calibrate her own voice. "Christmas tree," Hope announced triumphantly one morning, pointing to the corner where Ethan had reluctantly agreed to place a small evergreen. "Cole says trees sing in the wind." Ethan found himself softening despite his suspicions about Cole's surname. The boy worked tirelessly, not just on the gardens but on Hope's development. He taught her to feel music through vibrations in the ground, to understand rhythm by watching Echo's tail wag in time to her box's melodies. "Mr. Sterling," Cole said one afternoon as they watched Hope attempt to sing along to her box, "has Hope ever tried to learn sign language?" "The doctor said it might limit her motivation to speak," Ethan replied, though his conviction was wavering. What if it gave her more ways to communicate? Cole's suggestion was gentle but persistent. "She's so smart. She could learn both." Ethan studied Cole's earnest face, struck by the teenager's genuine investment in Hope's well-being. No one, not doctors, therapists, or specialists, had shown such patient dedication to his daughter's happiness. Meanwhile, Sam Rodriguez spent his nights researching. The name Marcus Matthews had triggered unwelcome memories, and his investigation confirmed his worst fears. Marcus Matthews, truck driver, alcoholic, the man who had run the red light that killed Margaret Sterling 3 years ago. The same man whose family Ethan had systematically destroyed through lawsuits and legal pressure. Sam discovered that Marcus had died by suicide 2 years ago, leaving behind a 16-year-old son who had vanished into Los Angeles' homeless population. The pieces formed a horrifying puzzle. Cole wasn't just any homeless teenager, he was the son of Margaret Sterling's killer, living in their home, bonding with their daughter. But watching Cole with Hope complicated Sam's sense of duty. The boy showed no signs of malice or revenge. Instead, he displayed a protective devotion that seemed to transcend his tragic connection to the family. Sam wrestled with his conscience, knowing Ethan's right to know warred against Cole's obvious love for Hope. Cole himself was drowning in internal conflict. Each night in the gardener's shed, he wrote letters he would never send, apologies to Ethan, explanations for Hope, confessions to his dead father. His plan had been simple: help Hope here, then disappear. But love had complicated everything. Hope called him her music brother, and even Ethan had begun treating him with something approaching fatherly concern. "Cole," Ethan said one evening, finding the boy carving by lamplight in the shed, "I've been thinking about your situation, about making it more permanent." Cole's hand stilled on his work. "Sir, adoption." Ethan said quietly. You've given Hope something I couldn't. You've made her happy again. I'd like you to stay, really stay, as family. The knife slipped, cutting Cole's thumb. Blood welled up as his carefully constructed world began to crumble. How could he accept love built on deception? How could he tell Ethan that his father had murdered the man's wife? I need time to think about it, Cole whispered. Ethan misinterpreted the boy's reluctance as fear of commitment after years of abandonment. Of course, no pressure. Just know that you have a home here for as long as you want it. Hope's progress continued to astonish Dr. Williams during her weekly visits. The little girl could now identify simple melodies, speak in full sentences, and had begun laughing a sound that echoed through the mansion's halls like bells. She insisted on carrying her musical box everywhere, sometimes pressing it against windows, walls, even Echo's fur to hear how different surfaces changed the sound. There's something special about this recording, Hope told Cole one afternoon. It's not like other music. It feels warm, like a hug. Cole's throat tightened. What do you mean? When I listen, I feel like someone loves me, like someone far away is singing just for me. Hope's innocent observation pierced Cole's heart. She was hearing her mother's voice, feeling Margaret's love transmitted through the wooden box, without understanding the miracle of that connection. Does it make you happy? Cole asked. Yes, but also sad. Is that okay? That's okay, sweetheart. Sometimes the most beautiful things make us feel both happy and sad at the same time. Christmas preparations began in earnest as Ethan, inspired by Hope's joy, decided to celebrate after all. Cole helped string lights, his stomach churning with guilt as Hope chattered about their first real family Christmas. She drew pictures of their family, Ethan, herself, Cole, Echo, and even Sam beneath a Christmas tree, with musical notes floating around them like snow. But warning signs accumulated like storm clouds. Sam's increasingly urgent glances, his requests for private conversations with Ethan, Cole's nightmares that woke the household. Echo had become protective of both Hope and Cole, as if sensing approaching danger. Sam keeps looking at you funny, Hope observed with 5-year-old directness. Are you in trouble? Cole forced a smile. I hope not, little bird. But he knew the truth was a ticking bomb, and time was running out. Each day of happiness with the Sterling family felt stolen, each moment of Hope's laughter a gift he didn't deserve. Soon, very soon, Ethan would discover exactly who Cole Matthews really was, and this fragile dream of family would shatter like glass. The manila envelope arrived on Christmas Eve morning, delivered by courier to Ethan's study. His private investigator's report on Cole Matthews lay sealed inside, a document that would shatter the fragile peace that had settled over the Sterling household like fresh snow. Sam Rodriguez stood in the doorway, his weathered face grave with knowledge he could no longer contain. Mr. Sterling, before you open that, I know what you're going to say. Sam, Ethan's fingers traced the envelope's edges. You think I'm being paranoid? That the boy has proven himself. That's not what I was going to say. Sam stepped into the study, closing the door behind him. I was going to tell you that I already know what's in that report. Ethan looked up sharply. What do you mean? Cole Matthews, son of Marcus Matthews, the truck driver who killed Mrs. Sterling. The envelope fell from Ethan's hands. 3 years of carefully constructed composure crumbled in an instant, replaced by a rage so pure it turned his vision white. You knew, and said nothing. I've been watching him for weeks, trying to understand his motives. Mr. Sterling, that boy is the son of my wife's killer. Ethan's voice cracked like a whip. He's been living in our home, playing with our daughter, and you said nothing. Through the study window, they could see Hope in the garden, dancing with Echo while Cole pruned the winter roses. The scene that had brought Ethan such joy now looked sinister, predatory. Look at him, Sam said quietly. Look at how he is with Hope. That's not revenge. Mr. Sterling, that's love. But Ethan was already moving, fury propelling him through the house and into the garden like a man possessed. His footsteps on the stone path made Cole look up from his work, and the boy's face went pale as he recognized the storm approaching. Hope, go inside, Ethan commanded, his voice deadly calm. But Daddy, Cole was showing me how roses sleep in winter. Inside, now. Hope's lower lip trembled at her father's tone, but she obeyed, Echo trailing reluctantly behind her. Cole straightened slowly, pruning shears still in his hands, watching Ethan approach with the resigned expression of someone who had always known this moment would come. Did you know who I was when you came here? Ethan's question was barely above a whisper. Cole's shoulders sagged. Yes. Did you know that your father killed my wife? Yes. And you came here anyway. You wormed your way into my home, into my daughter's heart. All for what, some twisted revenge fantasy? No. Cole's voice was steady despite his obvious terror. I came to give back what my family took from you. Ethan laughed, a sound devoid of humor. Give back. You think some wooden trinket can replace my wife? Not replace, Cole said quietly. Just help Hope hear what she should have heard all along. The back door slammed as Hope emerged, despite Ethan's orders, clutching her musical box against her chest. Her face was streaked with tears as she ran toward the confrontation. Daddy, why are you yelling at Cole? She cried. He didn't do anything bad. Ethan's rage faltered as he looked at his daughter's distressed face, but the sight of the wooden box in her hands reignited his fury. That box! Hope! Do you know what's really inside it? Music, Hope said, confused. Beautiful music that makes me happy. It's manipulation. Ethan turned back to Cole, his voice rising. Everything you've done here has been a lie. Your kindness, your care for Hope, all of it designed to hurt us. You're wrong, Cole said, taking a step backward as Ethan advanced. Am I? Your father destroyed my family, and now you're here to finish the job. Did you plan this together? Was this his dying wish to make me love the son of my wife's killer? Hope looked between the two men with growing panic. Echo began to growl. Sensing the violence in the air, Sam appeared in the doorway, ready to intervene. My father killed himself 2 years ago, Cole said, his voice breaking. He left me a letter begging me to find a way to heal what he broke. I didn't come here for revenge, Mr. Sterling. I came because a little girl deserved to hear her mother's voice. The words hit Ethan like physical blows. Her mother's voice. What are you talking about? Cole's face crumpled. The recording in the music box. It's not just any lullaby. Ethan snatched the wooden box from Hope's hands, ignoring her cries of protest. He examined it frantically, finding a tiny compartment he had missed before. Inside was a miniature tape mechanism, barely visible. Where did you get this recording? My father saved it from the crash. He kept it for 2 years. Too guilty to return it. When he died, he left it to me with a note. He said. Cole's voice dissolved into whispers. He said Mrs. Sterling was recording a lullaby for Hope when the accident happened. The tape survived, but he was too ashamed to bring it back. Ethan's hands shook as understanding crashed over him. Margaret's voice, her final gift to Hope, preserved in the wreckage of the accident that killed her. The warmth Hope felt when listening wasn't imagination, it was her mother's love, speaking to her across the grave. Get out, Ethan whispered. Daddy? No! Hope threw herself at Cole, wrapping her small arms around his waist. Don't make Cole go away. He's my music brother. Get out before I call the police, Ethan repeated, his voice growing stronger. Pack your things and leave my property. If I see you near my daughter again, I'll have you arrested. Sam stepped forward. Mr. Sterling, maybe we should... No, this ends now. Ethan's composure finally shattered completely. I don't care about his reasons or his father's guilt. I want him gone. Cole gently disentangled himself from Hope's embrace, kneeling to her level one last time. I have to go, little bird, but you keep that box. Okay, keep listening to the beautiful music. Why are you leaving? Hope sobbed. I love you, Cole. I love you too, Cole whispered, his own tears falling freely. More than you'll ever know. As security escorted Cole from the property, Hope's screams of anguish echoed through the mansion. The sound would haunt Ethan's dreams for weeks to come, his daughter's voice, finally strong and clear, crying out in heartbreak for the boy who had given her the gift of sound, only to be banished for the sins of his father. 3 days passed like a funeral procession through the Sterling mansion. Hope had retreated into a silence deeper than her deafness, a chosen muteness that seemed to swallow light itself. The wooden music box sat abandoned on her windowsill, untouched since Cole's banishment, as if the magic had died with his departure. Dr. Williams arrived for an emergency consultation on the 4th day, summoned by Sam's increasingly desperate phone calls. She found Hope curled in her closet, Echo lying guard at the door, both of them refusing food. This is severe psychological regression, Dr. Williams told Ethan quietly. She's not just stopped speaking, she's stopped trying to communicate entirely. The progress we made is disappearing. Ethan watched his daughter through the closet doorway, her small frame lost among hanging clothes that suddenly seemed like burial shrouds. She'll adjust. Children are resilient. Mr. Sterling, with respect, Hope isn't just any child. She'd formed a profound attachment to Cole. In her mind, sound itself is connected to him. Without him, she's rejecting the very concept of hearing. Each night, Echo's howling pierced the mansion's silence. The dog stood at the garden gate where Cole had worked, calling into the darkness with a grief that matched Hope's own. Neighbors complained, but Ethan lacked the heart to stop the morning ritual. Work became impossible. Ethan found himself staring at quarterly reports while images of Hope's breakdown replayed in his mind. Her drawings had changed from colorful celebrations of sound to gray sketches of empty gardens and broken toys. She drew Cole repeatedly, always walking away, always leaving, his back turned toward her reaching hands. On the 5th morning, Sam discovered Hope sleeping in the gardener's shed, wrapped in one of Cole's forgotten work shirts. She had somehow unlocked the building and arranged Cole's abandoned tools around her like protective talismans. She asks me every day if Cole is coming back, Sam reported to Ethan. She doesn't understand why loving someone is wrong. Don't lecture me about love, Ethan snapped. That boy is the son of a killer. I protected my daughter. From what? From someone who cared about her happiness more than his own safety. Sam's words cut deep, but Ethan's pride wouldn't allow retreat. He had made his decision based on principle, on justice, on the simple fact that Cole's very existence was a mockery of Margaret's memory. Miles away in downtown Los Angeles, Cole existed in a different kind of hell. The homeless shelter on 5th Street provided safety but no peace. He carved obsessively through the night's wooden birds that would never fly, flowers that would never bloom, his hands moving with mechanical precision while his mind remained trapped in Hope's garden. Other residents gave him wide berth, recognizing the dangerous intensity of fresh grief. Cole spoke to no one, ate little, and spent his days wandering the city with no destination except away from Beverly Hills and the temptation to return. Sam had begun making secret visits to the shelter, bringing news that only deepened Cole's anguish. Hope's regression tore at him worse than any physical pain. He had given her the gift of sound only to have it poisoned by his father's sins. She's dying inside, Sam told him during one clandestine meeting. Not medically, but spiritually. That light you put in her eyes is going out. Cole's response was to purchase a bus ticket to San Francisco, then Portland, anywhere that distance might diminish the pull he felt toward the Sterling mansion. His final act was a letter written on shelter stationery, addressed to Hope in careful block letters she was just learning to read. Christmas Eve arrived like a death sentence. The Sterling mansion stood decorated in expensive splendor, a 20-foot tree draped in gold, presents wrapped by professional decorators, every surface gleaming with holiday perfection. But Hope moved through it all like a ghost, touching nothing, speaking to no one except echo. Ethan watched his daughter open presents with mechanical politeness, designer clothes, educational toys, electronic devices worth thousands of dollars. She thanked him politely for each gift, then set them aside with the same emotional investment she might show toward medical equipment. The doll plays music, Ethan offered desperately, activating an expensive interactive toy. Just like your box. Hope looked at the synthetic sounds with something approaching disgust. That's not real music. Daddy, real music comes from people who love you. The wooden music box remained untouched on her dresser until afternoon, when Hope accidentally knocked it to the floor while reaching for Echo's leash. The delicate mechanism inside shattered with a sound like breaking glass, and Hope's composure finally cracked. Her screams brought the household running. Ethan found her kneeling among the wreckage, trying desperately to piece together fragments of wood and metal. The tiny tape mechanism had broken free, revealing its hidden complexity, not just a simple music box, but an intricate recording device. "Fix it," Hope sobbed, holding the pieces toward her father. "Please fix it. I can't hear Mama anymore." The words hit Ethan like lightning. Mama. Hope had never called the voice in the recording Mama before. Somehow, on some level, she had recognized her mother's voice speaking to her from beyond death. With shaking hands, Ethan gathered the broken pieces, noting the professional recording equipment hidden within Cole's wooden creation. This wasn't a toy, it was an archive, a technological miracle disguised as folk art. "Sam," he called hoarsely, "get me an audio restoration specialist. Tonight. I don't care what it costs." As emergency technicians worked to salvage the damaged recording, Sam finally revealed the full scope of Cole's sacrifice. 2 years of planning, months of research into Hope's specific hearing loss, countless hours perfecting the acoustic properties of the wooden box, all to return Margaret Sterling's final gift to her daughter. "That boy loved Hope more than his own pain," Sam said quietly. "He knew who you were from the beginning, knew what you'd do if you discovered his name, but he stayed anyway, because she deserved to hear her mother's voice." Standing in his daughter's room, surrounded by broken toys and shattered dreams, Ethan Sterling finally understood the true magnitude of his mistake. The audio restoration specialist worked through the night in Ethan's study, expensive equipment humming quietly as digital algorithms reconstructed sound from damaged magnetic tape. Dr. Patricia Williams had remained despite the late hour, fascinated by the technical complexity hidden within Cole's wooden creation. "This is remarkable engineering," she murmured, examining the broken mechanism under a microscope. "The acoustic chamber is precisely calculated to amplify specific frequencies, exactly the range where Hope shows residual hearing. Whoever built this understood her audiological profile better than most professionals." Ethan sat in Margaret's chair, the one she had used for late-night reading, watching the restoration process with growing dread. If Cole had truly preserved Margaret's voice, then his banishment wasn't justice, it was cruelty of the highest order. At 3 in the morning, the technician finally looked up from his equipment. "I've got it. The recording is intact, though there's some degradation. Would you like to hear it?" Ethan nodded, unable to speak. The specialist pressed play, and Margaret Sterling's voice filled the study like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "To my darling Hope," the recording began. Margaret's warm alto carrying across 3 years of grief and silence. "If you're hearing this, it means Daddy found a way to help you hear the world's music. I'm recording this lullaby on my way to surprise you with a new teddy bear for your 2nd birthday." Ethan's hands clenched the chair arms as his wife's voice continued, so achingly familiar it seemed impossible she was gone. "This is You Are My Sunshine, yes, sweetheart. It was your grandmother's favorite song, and she sang it to me when I was little. Now I'm singing it to you, so you'll always know that Mama loves you, even when you can't see me." Margaret's voice grew softer, more intimate. "Daddy will help you hear the world's music someday. I know he will. And when that day comes, I want you to remember to be kind to those who help you. because love is the most beautiful sound of all. The lullaby that followed was achingly sweet, Margaret's voice carrying all the maternal love that Hope had never experienced. But it ended abruptly, cutting off mid-note the exact moment of the collision that ended her life. Ethan sobbed without shame, hearing his wife's final words, her last gift to their daughter preserved by the man he blamed for destroying their family. The cruelty of the irony was devastating Margaret's voice, saved by her killer's conscience, delivered to Hope by his homeless son. "There's more," the technician said gently. "A more recent recording, added to the same tape." The second voice that emerged was younger, rougher with grief but carrying unmistakable sincerity. Marcus Matthews, speaking from what must have been his final days. "Mr. Sterling, if you're hearing this, it means my boy Cole found the courage I never had. I saved this recording from the crash, pulled it from the wreckage before the fire department arrived. I've listened to your wife sing to your little girl 1,000 times, knowing I stole that voice from her forever." Marcus's confession spilled out like poison from an infected wound. The drinking that led to the accident, his family's destruction under Ethan's legal assault, his wife's abandonment when the pressure became too much. "I don't expect forgiveness, I don't deserve it. But my boy Cole, he's got a heart I never had. He's been watching your family, learning about Hope's condition, planning ways to help. I'm leaving him this recording and every skill I ever learned about sound equipment. Maybe he can give back what I took away." The recording continued with Marcus's technical explanations how Cole could modify audio equipment to work with Hope's specific hearing loss, how the wooden box design would focus and amplify the frequencies she could detect. "Don't blame the boy for my sins. Mr. Sterling. He spent 2 years learning to carve wood from a homeless veteran, studying acoustic engineering at the library, all so he could help your daughter hear her mama's voice. That's not revenge. That's love trying to heal what hate destroyed." The final words were directed to Cole himself. "Son, if something happens to me before you finish this mission, remember what I taught you about sound waves and frequency resonance, but more importantly, remember that hatred destroys the hater. Don't let my mistakes poison your heart. Give that little girl her mother's voice back, then walk away clean. You don't owe this family your life, just this one chance to make things right." Sam entered the study as the recording ended, carrying a weathered manila envelope. "I found this in Cole's shed, hidden under loose floorboards." Inside was Cole's journal, 2 years of meticulous planning laid out in a teenager's careful handwriting, sketches of acoustic chambers, calculations for frequency amplification, detailed observations of Hope's behavior and Ethan's schedule. Page after page revealed the depth of Cole's preparation. But more devastating were Cole's personal entries. Day 127. Hope drew a picture of herself with tears today. "She doesn't understand why she can't hear music like other kids. I have to work faster on the box design." Day 203. Mr. Sterling looked so tired today. He works all the time to avoid being sad about his wife. I understand that feeling. Day 341. Hope pressed her hands against a speaker today, trying to feel music on TV. She's so smart and so frustrated. The box has to work. It has to. Day 492. Dr. Williams visited again. Another failed hearing test. Hope cried when she left. Mr. Sterling punched the wall in his office. I heard him crying later. I have to finish this soon. The final entry was dated just days before Cole's arrival at the mansion. I know Mr. Sterling will hate me when he learns who I am. I know he'll send me away. Maybe call the police. But Hope deserves to hear her mother's voice at least once. If I can give her that, then maybe Dad's death will mean something. Maybe our family can do one good thing to balance all the bad." Ethan turned page after page, watching Cole's plan evolve from desperate hope to careful engineering. The boy had never intended to stay permanently. His goal was always to deliver Margaret's voice to Hope, then disappear back into the anonymity of homelessness. "He knew," Ethan whispered. He knew exactly how this would end, and he came anyway. Sam nodded grimly. That boy sacrificed everything for Hope's happiness, and we threw him away like garbage. Dr. Williams spoke up quietly. Mr. Sterling, I need to ask, have you considered that Cole might be the key to Hope's continued progress? The regression we're seeing isn't just emotional. She's losing the vocal improvements she made while he was here. Her speech patterns are deteriorating without his guidance. Where is he now? Ethan asked. Downtown shelter on 5th Street, Sam replied. But not for long. I heard he bought a bus ticket. Leaves tomorrow morning for Portland. Ethan looked at the clock, 4:47 a.m. In a few hours, Cole Matthews would disappear forever, taking with him any chance of healing the damage Ethan had caused. Hope would continue her regression into silence, losing both her mother's voice and the boy who had restored it to her. Find him, Ethan said, standing abruptly. Find him now, before it's too late. Mr. Sterling, Sam said carefully. What are you going to tell him? What are you going to tell Hope? Ethan looked at Margaret's chair, hearing her recorded voice echo in his memory. Remember to be kind to those who help you, because love is the most beautiful sound of all. I'm going to tell them both the truth, he said, that sometimes the people we think will destroy us are the ones sent to save us. Dawn was breaking over Los Angeles as Ethan Sterling raced through downtown traffic, Sam Rodriguez beside him clutching Cole's bus ticket information. The Greyhound station loomed ahead, its Art Deco facade promising departures to everywhere except the past they desperately needed to reclaim. They found Cole sitting alone on a wooden bench, a battered backpack at his feet, and a one-way ticket to Portland in his trembling hands. He looked smaller than his 16 years, hollowed out by grief and the weight of carrying his father's sins. When he saw Ethan approaching, he stood slowly, resignation written across his young face. Mr. Sterling, Cole said quietly, I was going to leave without saying goodbye. I thought it would be easier. Easier for who? Ethan asked, stopping just out of arm's reach. Around them, early morning travelers moved with purposeful anonymity, unaware they were witnessing a moment that would define two lives forever. For everyone, Cole replied. Hope will forget me eventually. Kids do that. And you won't have to look at me every day and remember what my father took from you. Ethan pulled out his phone, fingers shaking as he accessed the restored recording. Cole, I need you to listen to something. Something I should have heard days ago. Margaret's voice filled the space between them, her lullaby carrying across the crowded terminal like a prayer. Cole's face crumpled as he heard the woman his father had killed, singing with such tenderness to the daughter she would never see grow up. You gave my daughter her mother's voice back, Ethan said, tears streaming down his face. You spent 2 years of planning to heal what your family broke, and I threw you away like you were nothing. Travelers began to notice the emotional scene unfolding, some pausing to watch as Cole collapsed back onto the bench, overwhelmed by the magnitude of forgiveness being offered. I don't deserve your kindness, Cole whispered. My father. Your father made a terrible mistake, but you, Cole, you chose love over revenge. You chose Hope's happiness over your own safety. That's not your father's son talking. That's the man you chose to become. The bus to Portland pulled into the loading bay, diesel engines rumbling like distant thunder. Other passengers began boarding, but Cole remained frozen, unable to process the transformation in Ethan's demeanor. Hope is dying without you, Ethan continued. Not medically, but spiritually. She stopped speaking, stopped trying to communicate. Dr. Williams says her regression is severe, possibly permanent. She needs you. Cole, we both do. What are you saying? I'm saying come home. Come home to a family that loves you, not despite who you are, but because of who you chose to be. The drive back to Beverly Hills passed in contemplative silence, both man and boy processing the seismic shift in their relationship. As they pulled through the mansion gates, Hope appeared at her bedroom window, her face pressed against the glass. When she saw Cole emerge from the car, her scream of joy could be heard throughout the house. She burst through the front door in her pajamas, Echo racing beside her as she launched herself into Cole's arms. "You came back, Daddy. You brought Cole back." "I'm sorry, little bird," Cole whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry I left you." "Don't leave again," Hope demanded, pulling back to look seriously into his eyes. "Promise me you'll never leave again." Cole looked to Ethan, who nodded with quiet certainty. "I promise. Hope. I'm home now. Really home." Christmas morning arrived 3 days late, but felt perfectly timed. The Sterling family, now expanded to include Cole, officially gathered around the restored music box, listening to Margaret's lullaby while Hope sang along with increasing confidence. Her speech had improved dramatically since Cole's return, as if his presence unlocked the progress she had made during his original stay. Sam joined them for Christmas dinner, along with Dr. Williams, who marveled at Hope's rapid recovery. "It's remarkable," she told Ethan privately. "Not just the hearing improvement, but her overall development. Cole has a natural gift for working with hearing-impaired children." 6 months later, the transformation was complete in ways none of them had imagined. Legal adoption papers bearing the name Cole Sterling sat framed in Ethan's office, beside a photograph of their blended family. Ethan had established the Margaret Sterling Foundation for Deaf Children, with Marcus Matthews honored as a founding contributor whose final act of conscience made everything possible. Cole had enrolled in high school with plans to study audiology and deaf education. His wooden carving had evolved into sophisticated acoustic devices that helped other hearing-impaired children access sound in new ways. Hope had become his first and most enthusiastic test subject for each innovation. The healing extended beyond their immediate family. Ethan had reached out to other families affected by Marcus Matthews' accident, providing financial support and genuine apologies for his vengeful response to their shared tragedy. Forgiveness, he learned, was a choice that freed the forgiver as much as the forgiven. Hope's first public speech came at the Foundation's inaugural benefit dinner. Standing at a podium designed for her small stature, she addressed a ballroom full of donors and families affected by hearing loss. "My name is Hope Sterling," she began, her voice clear and confident. "3 years ago, I lived in a quiet world where I couldn't hear my daddy's voice or my dog Echo barking or birds singing. I thought that meant I was broken." She paused, finding Cole's encouraging face in the audience. "Then my brother Cole came to our family. He didn't fix my ears. He helped me understand that I wasn't broken at all. He showed me that love makes its own beautiful sound, even when you can't hear it with your ears." Hope held up the restored wooden music box, its surface gleaming under the ballroom lights. "This box holds my mama's voice, singing to me from heaven. But more than that, it holds the love of a boy who chose to heal instead of hurt, who chose family instead of loneliness." She looked directly at Ethan, her smile radiant with joy. "Sometimes the people we think are strangers are really family waiting to be found. Sometimes the sounds we can't hear with our ears are the most important sounds of all." The applause was thunderous, but Hope felt it more than heard it. Her hand pressed against the podium to feel the vibrations of approval and love rippling through the room. Later that evening, as they drove home through the Beverly hills, Ethan reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. Hatred had nearly destroyed them all, his hatred for Marcus Matthews, his initial hatred for Cole, the cycle of pain that seemed destined to repeat across generations. But love had proven stronger. Hope's innocent love had seen past adult complications to the boy who made beautiful sounds for her. Cole's sacrificial love had chosen healing over revenge. Even Marcus Matthews' final love had preserved Margaret's voice when he could have simply thrown the recording away. "Daddy," Hope said sleepily from her car seat, the wooden music box clutched against her chest. "Do you think Mama knows about our family now?" Ethan glanced in the rearview mirror at Cole, who had fallen asleep against the window, and felt Margaret's presence as surely as if she sat beside him. "I think she does, sweetheart," he replied. "I think she's very proud of all of us." As they pulled into their driveway, Echo barked a welcome from the front porch, his tail wagging in rhythm to the happiness that had finally, fully returned to the Sterling home. The Sterling family's journey reminds us that healing begins where hatred ends. Ethan Sterling learned that revenge only multiplies suffering, while forgiveness creates space for miracles to unfold. Cole Matthews proved that we are not prisoners of our family's past mistakes. We can choose to write our own story with acts of love and sacrifice. True family isn't always determined by blood, but by those who choose to stay when staying is difficult. Cole could have walked away when his identity was discovered, but love for hope kept him anchored. Ethan could have remained trapped in bitterness, but witnessing genuine devotion opened his heart to the possibility of healing. The wooden music box became more than an acoustic device. It symbolized how broken pieces can be transformed into something beautiful when touched by patient hands and selfless hearts. Margaret's voice, preserved through tragedy and delivered through love, shows us that grace often arrives through the most unexpected messengers. Sometimes the people who hurt us most and those who heal us most are connected in ways we cannot foresee. The choice between perpetuating cycles of pain or breaking them with forgiveness defines not just our own destiny, but the legacy we leave for those we love. Have you ever been wrongly judged because of a family member's actions, like Cole was? How did you handle that unfair treatment?